Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, good. And you, Wali?
All well, all well. And I've been thinking about this podcast for the last maybe 2 years. I've been thinking to call you, maybe have a one-on-one physical podcast, but I thought that it's never too late. And let's start from somewhere because the timings are not synchronizing. So just to give the audience an idea, most of my at least audience probably know you because I talk about Sarwa a lot, and Sarva is something which I started my investing journey of the US stocks investing journey here in the UAE for the first time. Whatever I talk about Sarva is from my heart. So that is why a lot of people know about that brand, and from that probably they know about you as well. But still, some people might not know. So if you can just briefly give some introduction of yourself, and then we can continue our conversation.
Yeah, of course. Super happy to finally do this, Wali, and next time, hopefully in person. And first of all, very grateful for being alongside the journey with you, with great creators like you that spread sound, responsible investing and a proven way to build wealth. So it's not something that Sarwa alone can do we need a lot of discussion, a lot of debates around it. So personally, a bit about me. I'm Lebanese Canadian. Grew up between Montreal and Beirut. Started Sarwa when I saw there was a big gap in the Middle East, specifically in the UAE, where people were not investing as much as other areas in the world. I had a lot of friends, family that were moving to the UAE. There was a lot of job opportunity, but a lot of that salary was like not being used the right way. It was sitting in cash, not doing anything, and we couldn't believe it, my co-founders and I, when we saw this. It's investing is such a powerful wealth builder that we felt like we needed to solve it. So that was a few years ago, and now we're a couple of years in. Very proud of where the team is has taken it as a homegrown investing platform.
Awesome. When was it actually founded? Because I came to know about Sarva, I think in 2001 or two, oh, sorry, 2021 or 2022, somewhere like that.
We started, well, we were the first financial services technology company to be licensed. So that took us a year to go from like what was called an ITL, innovation testing license, to a full financial institutions. That took us until late 2018. So we launched
Okay.
then, but we launched initially as a wealth management service for people that uh, want to give the ownership to someone. So we called that Sarwa Invest. And in 2021, this is where we launched at the end of it, Sarwa Trade, which is where you can buy and sell your own securities.
Right. So what is there a license difference between once you have something of a Sarva Invest compared to Sarva Trade? And if you can just briefly explain about these two platforms as well.
They're under the same regulation under ADGM, so it's the same entity providing all of them. But yes, you're right. One of them is more of a mandate where we are doing this as a discretionary mandate where we are buying and selling, and the other one is more the client is in charge. So it really depends on the personal belief, skill set of the customer. And we have clients that do both. They want some of it to manage on their own, and they want a portion that we're managing. And they like to compare. They like to have part of it that's riskier, like when they're doing their own stuff, and they like to delegate more of the boring, passive, long-term stuff to us. So we see a lot of different profiles, but definitely each one has its place depending on the customer. And we have a multiple asset classes. You know, U.S. stocks is obviously the core building block, but you have ETFs, of course. You have gold, crypto, a high savings product as well through BlackRock. So we also diversify, and we have options trading that hopefully we can touch upon as a more novel, more complex product as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Actually, I want to discuss about options trading because I never have the hands-on for the options. I did do some leverage trading, but I'm not sure if it's the similar kind of thing when we talk about options. So what bring? So I understand that you're saying that you you saw the gap once you were thinking about Sarva. You saw the gap here in the market. But let's say if you compare now, how people are investing. Let's say they're talking about. We know that we have this platform of Sarva Invest, and we have got the Sarva Trade. And let's talk about crypto as well. So there are three things within your within this umbrella. Where
Mhm.
are most people investing right now, so that I can have an idea? Are people investing passively, or are they trading more, or are they inclined towards crypto?
Um, I would say there's a big shift towards active investing that we've seen ever since COVID. I would say it was the starting point where there was this big shift, where I think from the moment we were all at home and people started to read more about investing, there was clearly a shift that hasn't stopped, where people are more comfortable to look at YouTube, read blogs, buy books, and build up their own know-how. And I think with the cost of living that we're seeing that's increasing a lot, people are looking for more active ways to generate returns
Hmm.
beyond just the classic buy and hold strategies that are more passive. So we're seeing a lot more demand on the active side, on technology, AI specifically. You still have a lot of demand for ETFs and Bitcoin. So it's we just literally published a few minutes ago, actually, on our social channels, a series that's going quite viral every month, where we show what are the most traded assets on Sarwa, and we also comment on what are the different changes in July and June and May, and um, and I think it's really helpful to see because we're probably one of the largest, if not the largest, homegrown platform. So you can see where's the actual money going to. And I can tell you, like from July, Bitcoin made a strong comeback. It reached all-time highs. We've seen Nvidia always be at the top position in the last 3 months. We've seen VOO, which is the S&P 500 equivalent, also rise to rank number three, and also gold. Gold also stayed in the top five as well, and which I like to see because it shows you that investors aren't just buying and taking a ton of risk without thinking of the downside. They're buying, but they're also diversifying into funds, into gold, commodities. They have crypto as well that plays a role too. That's more obviously risk on. So it's a very healthy, very strong, diversified book. Although,
Yeah.
of course, on the risk side, but it makes sense. A lot of our clients are in their 20s, 30s, 40s. This is the wealth building phase.
Yeah, yeah. And people should understand that even though if you are 40 in your 40s, you can still invest in the stock market and you can have that kind of return, because 10 years, if you talk about 10 years, I haven't seen any 10 years period where the stocks returns were negative. And of course, after that period of decade, let's say there is a lost decade, but then after that, immediately you will find the upside. And currently the things, whatever is going on, I tell people all the time that we've seen wars, we've seen COVID, we've seen trade wars, and so many things that we've seen, but still the stock market is very resilient, and it goes up because inflation is there. Money printing is always there, so the asset backed investments would always go up, not maybe not in the short term, but certainly in the longer term. And myself, I also take the same approach, that I have some kind of funds invested in, let's say, Sarva Invest, then some of them in the trade. I don't do crypto a lot, but then
Hmm.
ETFs and individual stocks. But I feel really safe, I would say, whenever there is a risk of war, or let's say
Hmm.
there is a risk of pandemic, let's say, if, and God forbid it comes again, or anything like that. If there is something, I know that some wealth manager is managing my chunk of money, for that I don't have to worry about. But for even the ETFs, I sometimes have some worries that, okay, maybe it's the right thing or not to do. Although ETF is something which is very safe, but still you have some doubts for that matter. And for the companies that I have conviction with, I always invest in those. So that's why Sarva, I feel, is really good platform to keep on. Let's say for myself, I've got a big portfolio in Sarva. The only thing I want to tell you about the app, or the, let's say, platform, which a lot of people have been telling me. There are two things actually. One is funny. The other one, the one that I would seriously want to know, understand, that why
Tell
is
me.
it not happening right now, that
Hmm.
people are asking. Let's say Sarva is a homegrown company within the UAE, so why are no UAE stocks listed in Sarva app, and maybe perhaps the MENA region apps, let's say Saudi as well. And the other funny thing is, I've just seen recently somebody's commenting on my video that Sarva doesn't have the dark mode. So I don't know if you guys have the have the roadmap for that.
Yes, yes. The answer is one and the same, but ultimately, Wally, we have the way we build Sarwa in general, and how we think of all of this is we try to see the most demand and the most value we can deliver in
Hmm.
in as little time as possible, so that everything we're sequencing, you can imagine across the tens of thousands of customers, trying to make sense of what is the thing that's going to drive the most value. Dark mode is a much simpler ask, and our design team is well aware, and you'll start to see a lot of design improvements over the next few months that are going to make the app even more fresh and like a clean, very modern as you would expect. On the UAE stocks, it's also something we're working on with our broker. What took us longer, I would say, is there's only now, I think we're starting to see a serious push towards an IPOs and more like a liquidity that despite what we hear, you can hear a lot of people asking for it, but when you look at the actual volume, it's a very, very, very small percentage of what people actually want compared to the US stock market. And in terms of a performance similar to what you were saying, how it survived so many different wars and the recent tariff
Pandemic.
wars, like pandemic, you name it. So it's just been such a strong way to build wealth that we're constantly facing this trade-off of, do we give more resources when it comes to U.S. stocks and double down on that, where people are making a lot of money. Like last year, we announced more than $100 million in gains.
Hmm.
And I expect this expect another announcement that's even higher. So all this to say is, it's when something is working and getting people a lot of money, this is ultimately our core mission. Versus, I do believe the UAE stocks now is a good fit. And we're starting to see more tech companies, more growth companies, but it's still very shy. It's been a lot of more governmental,
Hmm.
that you would see a spike at the IPO moment, and then it kind of reduces. But that being said, I think it will get better with time. So it's purely a prioritization constraint that we are addressing. And we wanted to, when we launch it, we want it to be a very seamless experience, rather than for UAE stocks, partner with one broker, for US stocks with another. So we decided to wait a bit longer so that when we launch, it's all under one search bar, one position. It's going to be very, very seamless.
All right. Okay, I understand. From this point, I want to also ask you, because a lot of people still, although Sarva is very mature company now, but if somebody is new, they would definitely ask, what if Sarva vanishes? What will happen to my funds? And the point that I'm asking you this is because I know a few other brokers that are working without any background. What do you call it? Custodian
License
broker, uh,
or custodian.
even
Yeah,
though
yeah,
they are
yeah.
licensed, but they don't have the custodian broker. So
Yes.
if you don't have the custodian broker, either it's US stocks or the UAE stocks, it is dangerous. And what are the pitfalls in that case, and how do you counter the to people who say that, let's say, tomorrow Sarva goes busted? And by the way, we've seen this in rains last year when Dubai was flooded. People
Hmm.
all over the world, I felt that they were happy, that they were not like, they were saying, okay, see what happened to Dubai, see, the wealth is all eroded, things like that. So
Hmm.
once you are on
Hmm.
the top, people will definitely try to pull you down. So
Yes.
Similar case, if you remember, there was a case when you guys pulled off from, I think there was
Dubai
a
to yeah,
Dubai,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, ADGM
Hmm.
and DIFC. So people were, I knew people, there were some people who were happy. So I
Yeah.
was really like frustrated and surprised to see the
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 human
impact of
nature
such.
sometimes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So how do you address that?
Yeah, I think I love this question because it's we used to get it a lot more, and I love it as a question because it's it's your right to ask it, to understand the guardrails, and I wish more people do that because it doesn't happen a lot in the UAE. I think the government got a lot better at spotting them, protecting the consumer. But there's a few things you need to like. We sometimes talk about red flags. Regulation is a big one. I think if you're dealing with at the Abu Dhabi global markets where we're regulated, the FSRA, you're dealing with a top regulator. A lot of the team there, you see that from their leadership to the team is from, you have a local team, but it's very modeled after really strong regulations from Singapore, the UK, and they're constantly, they're doing a very good job to allow for innovation, but also to monitor us, to we have to have external audits, internal audits, constantly being and investing in that governance, in that security. That's kind of one thing that's super, super important. And personally, if I had to pick one of them, this would be my one of the biggest factors that gives me comfort because customers can ultimately, not that I want to encourage it because it's good to handle a complaint sometimes directly, but they can reach out. They have someone to reach out to. When sometimes when you're dealing with an international broker, for example, who is going to defend your right to in case something goes wrong? The second part is the custody, as you mentioned. Custody is really important. So we work with top tier custodians and brokers so that the actual money isn't with Sarwa. It's kept separate from us as a business. It's actually kept with a custodian. So in the case of Sarwa Trade, the broker we deal with is Alpaca, who gives the custody to BMO Bank of Montreal, one of the top 20 global banks in the US. So all this to say, and all of this is online. You can see on our help center the information that's much more updated. So you ultimately care about where is my money and my shares actually held, and despite our like our profitability and long-standing and backers like Mubadala and some $100 billion funds, we still prefer to give that custody to some of the U.S. banks or European banks in the case of Sarwa Invest, so that ultimately clients can sleep well at night knowing that their money is actually not even in the Middle East. It's actually in the US and in Europe. So it's something that some people care about in terms of custody, and it's important to ask it.
So, okay, supplementary question from here that we have got, at least I know about three regulators here: SCA, FSRA, and DIFC.
Yeah,
So what is the difference between these three? And you are regulated with the ADGM. Why did you choose
that's right.
ADGM
Exactly.
apart from the other two? And there was another one I forgot. I lost the chain of thought, but you can answer at least for these. So why did you
Yeah.
choose the ADGM?
We chose ADGM because the kind of vision we have of Sarwa that's multi-asset, where what we were describing earlier, where you can choose whether you want a wealth management service or to buy and sell your own stocks and crypto and a high yield saving. That kind of innovation and multi-asset structure, ADGM showed the most fit to support it. And we've seen it also, don't get me wrong, in the other two, but the approach has been more prioritizing one over the other. So rather than this multi-asset sphere, there was and then we started it in the DIFC and ADGM. We found that it was actually leading to duplication, where, for example, crypto was much more welcomed initially in ADGM. The FC wasn't quite there initially, so there was a bit of a um, like yeah, a discomfort where Sarwa is known across as a
Yeah.
UAE company, but
Hmm.
different regulators had different appetite. Now I think they're kind of catching up or more or less the
Catching up.
same. But
Yeah.
that's why we consolidated into ADGM because it was starting to put even the Dubai regulators in a tough spot because they would get sometimes someone telling them, "Why are you allowing Sarwa to offer crypto and not us?" But it was still done through the
Hmm.
ADGM requirement,
Yeah,
and
that
even
time.
though we write it, people sometimes don't read
Hmm.
and go through it quickly. So that's why it was simpler to have one regulator. It's uncommon actually to have three regulators in one country, and but it's what it is. You have to adapt and come up with the best structure.
Yeah, because I can see a few brokers which are regulated by SCA. Some of them are with the ADGM, some of them are with DIFC. So I think it should be fine. If you are regulated with one of them, the regulator, it should be fine, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so that makes it clear. Now, I want to like talk to you about AI here as well, because now you are also dealing with your main platform was Sarva Invest. Now, how is AI impacting that? Because to me or to a layman, it's much easier for the AI to just select the stocks. Even I mean, the robo investor is much let's say much lower intelligence task compared to what AI can do. So AI can do it easily. So where are we on AI in terms of robo investment or in general investments?
Yeah, no, super interesting. Funny enough, our biggest product is now Sarwa Trade. It's no longer Sarwa Invest, actually. But
Right.
we started as you said, using algorithms and technology to to simplify the decision-making process. So let me simplify it a bit. The first, there's when it comes to pure investing, not like account opening and all of that, there's a lot of AI there. But when it comes to investing, the way we started, we thought people wanted to delegate and give advice and get advice in terms of constructing their portfolio. Most people actually do not want to delegate this
Hmm. Hmm.
this thing. We love investing too much. It's too interesting. It's too personal. We change a lot. What we've come to learn is that there's much more demand from people that are doing their own investing, but they want more of a co-pilot and guidance through rather than like do it for me. So it's much more of a look over my shoulder or inform me, give me insights, and make it very easy, make it very quick, um, give me very fast support. That kind of more in that realm. But when it comes to actual um, beating the market, etc., I never really bought into AI doing. Um, I mean, there's pros and cons. The pros is that it's less emotional. But even since we started, every now and then I hear someone saying, "Oh, there's this new AI robot kind of algo trading." It's not something that people are actually interested in.
Hmm.
They don't trust it. They trust themselves. They'll trust Wali. They'll trust humans and people. But I personally haven't seen any if like or a lot of demand go into someone doing all of that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, because a lot of products have came for let's say they talk about replacing the real estate agent, but a human side of real estate agent can never be replaced. Maybe the human real estate agent can use AI to help
Exactly.
their own clients, but the human connection can never go away, because for most of the people, like 95% of the people, they don't want robots to instruct them what to do. Maybe I can take the feedback from AI and then do on my own intelligence whatever I think. But I don't want my decisions to be made through AI. So in that sense, yes,
Exactly.
you are right. Yes.
I published, I think it was earlier this week, how to build your own, more for fun, but it's actually very insightful, how to build your own personal investment AI copilot.
Hmm.
And through ChatGPT, if you have a premium or any kind of model you're using, if you give it enough information and more context, you can start to have within 30 minutes, you can build your own copilot that will tell you where you're overexposed, underexposed, how you're, if you're, you know, when it comes to your goals, if you're on track to reach them, if you're behind, what needs to change. A lot of
Hmm.
things that our team
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
does. So it becomes a personal. Do you prefer to talk to someone, and or do you prefer to do it on your own?
Hmm.
There's a lot of preference, but I don't think that one will win the other. I still
Hmm.
think, especially in the Middle East, UAE, the role that we love the human connection and the
Yes.
trust that comes with.
Yes, perhaps what I can think of AI is for the technical analysts, guys, maybe because they are
Hmm.
also contemplating on charts with if it will go up or it will go down just based on whatever the past trajectory was. But for AI, it's much easier and much predictable compared to what a human can do. But that is only for the technical guys. Maybe fundamentally, a lot of things AI cannot predict, simply cannot predict what Trump is thinking right now. It cannot
Yeah.
predict that, even if it's getting more advanced, whatever the case is.
Yeah,
So
but that's such a good example, like pulling information, synthesizing information, summarizing it, etc. It becomes so easy. Like, through the
hmm,
same tool, you can start to ask it to pull up the latest earnings report, to comment on it, to compare it to compare. So just how we dice data, how you gather it, it became so easy. I think that's
yeah,
the real power. It's
yeah,
and then
yeah,
and then there's memory, so it'll remember the kind of style. If you're more of a technical trader, it'll understand, okay, Mark really values more a certain style of metrics and momentum and etc. Versus if you're more of a fundamental, you're looking at the cash flow of the business, the earnings growth, etc. It'll
hmm,
start to know you better. So,
yeah.
um, but no, it's very exciting. Don't get me wrong. I just think we're gonna use it more in a as a as a as a tool, not as a replacement.
Right. So now, as a long-term user for Sarva, I have seen it definitely having incremental like upgrades most of the time. Like every 2 3 months, I can see a few things coming up. Like last major upgrade that I've seen is introduction of calendar
Hmm.
and this thing where we get the dividends. When are we going to get the dividend? It's very helpful that I know that what stocks are going to give me dividends and what dates are there, because it's usually I'm not able to track it, but I can see in the calendar it's very easy.
Nice.
Similarly, there are things, let's say leverage trading and options trading that we were talking earlier as well. I can see a lot of major brokers also offering leverage trading and
Yeah.
options too. But I can see now Sarva has recently added options into their workflow, or let's say framework. First of all, give us some background on what is, let's say, options, what is leverage trading, and then we can uh, go deep down into that.
Of course. I'll start with the margin. It's not something we support yet, but it is on our roadmap. I think what the thing about leverage or margin is how much leverage. And I'm often a critic of companies that offer a lot of leverage because this is how, if you look at some of the billboards in the UAE on Sheikh Zayed Road, you'll have this caption of 80%, 85% of customers of this provider are losing money. And it's not that these customers are not good at choosing investment. It's that they have so much leverage that the slightest movement down wipes them out completely. So if you're offering 50x leverage, 100x leverage, this is completely crazy. If you're offering 2x leverage, 3x, much more reasonable for someone that can handle and understands the market. So that's on leverage. I think it's fine if you don't use it at all, but if you absolutely want to, keep it in the low single digits, and you as a general guide. For options, it's much more interesting, I find, because options has like three main use cases. You can have leverage or speculation. Let's say you're betting on a price movement. There's an earnings call of Nvidia, and you think Nvidia is going to go up a lot, so you have high upside if you're right. This is a part of it for sure, but there are two other ones that are also very popular. Um, on the downside protection, it's actually, this is where I personally use it a lot. It's, let's say you own a portfolio of let's say the S&P 500 for simplicity. Um, a lot of people will tell you if the stock market crashes by, let's say, 50%, like in 2008, they would do nothing and they would continue buying and build wealth. But if you have the option through something called puts, you buy a put, so that if the market goes down, you actually make money. And there's a strategy where you can constantly do that, so you protect yourself against downside risk. Or if there's a specific moment in time you're particularly worried, you can start to protect your downside. So options isn't just about making a lot of money; it's protecting what you've built. And this is one of the ways I think it's a very powerful one. And the third way people use options is to generate income. So they sell options, they collect cash upfront. So let's say you own Apple shares, you can sell a call to someone that wants to buy that call, and you generate passive income but you limit your upside. So there are various ways to use options. These are the three common ones.
So a normal
Um,
person, yeah. Just before you continue, so a normal person, do you recommend a normal person to use options, or do they have to really understand what they're doing, same as margin or leverage?
I would say I wouldn't start there, that's for sure. I wouldn't start with options trading. I would start with building out, a diversified equity portfolio, whether it's stocks or ETFs or depending on the style of the person. Um, you can be just fine without it. But there comes a certain time when you've understood that there are cycles, that you really get it. You understand how it works. You understand volatility. There comes a time where you can upgrade the amount of tools and the protection of your portfolio to to take on more risk without being irresponsible. And I think this is what options provides you. And it's very flexible. So I think it's much more for the advanced um, trader or investor. But because Sarwa, we are on our seventh year, our customers are growing up a lot. So we can't just keep talking about you can make money investing in the S&P 500. People are like, hey, I get it. I've watched Wali's videos. I've read this book. What
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 more?
else? Like I want to take on more risk,
Yes,
but
yes.
in a responsible way. How can I do that? How can I increase my risk profile? How can I feel more confident about my portfolio in case of a downturn? I'm hearing about the U.S. has a lot of debt as a government. That worries me. How can I protect against that? This is where you start to more comfortably talk about more advanced topics that
Hmm.
I think if you're new, this can confuse you. That's the risk
Yes.
of, I think, starting with them. It becomes like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or this is scary, or I'm not cut out to it. No, there are easy ways to start without doing that, but it's a way of for more complex investors or intermediate to advanced, they can start to look into it.
Yeah, that's why I can see from your social medias as well that you guys are not promoting options too much. It's just like you talk about it and that's it. It's important as well because you don't want to give wrong impression or wrong perception about something which for especially for the new people. And I've seen that on social media, whether it's LinkedIn or YouTube. Uh, whether your audience is grown up and they know everything, still the content which is simplified goes much better than if you're going to explain much complicated topic, it will not work like the one that is simplified. So it's easier to explain these kind of things rather than go into the lingos
Of
of
course,
options, these things. Yeah.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
a
Now.
common
Hmm.
mistake. We've learned this the hard way because sometimes, we've been in the business for a while, but what made us special is that we are simplifying things. And for someone new, and most people are new to investing actually, because in the US, 60% of the population owns stocks.
Hmm.
In the Middle East, it's closer to 10%. Although we feel like everyone's investing, because we're in a bit of a bubble, but most people are still just
So it's only
discovering.
10% in Middle East.
It's an estimate, but yeah, by there's a study that was done that showed like every single country where they are. UAE hasn't. unfortunately, we don't have UAE specific data, but generally, when we ask kind of the industry or the estimates, it's closer to the 10 to 20 at most.
And this
So
10 to 20 will include US as well, as because some of the I know some people that only invest in the UAE stocks. They haven't touched
that's
US as well.
everywhere. Yeah, yeah, that's
That's
shares,
everyone. Yeah.
share ownership. So US, Canada are closer to 60. Europe, you start to be closer to, I think, 20 to 30, and then the rest of the world, it goes down quite a lot. I can share that chart with you if you want to reference it, but it just tells you that, most of the population is only getting started,
Hmm.
and it's an exciting thing to be part of that. Like personally, and for the team, it's a transformation that's happening relatively quickly also.
Hmm.
But we're catching up. We're catching up, but there's a reason the US is so prosperous as well. I think people have learned that. And I think it's more important because before, with an income, when I hear my uncles and talk about buying a house, for example, it wasn't that big of a deal. The income to asset wasn't too far off. Versus today, I think there's such a broad gap between
Yes.
income that didn't grow as fast as assets that
Yes.
it's important to consider investing as a must-have so that you
Yeah.
avoid, if in the case where this continues as a trend, um, you become part of it as opposed to overly rely on your income growth.
Yeah, yeah. And income growth, unless you're doing something really different, let's say you're doing some business or something. If you're doing just a normal job, it's not going to be exponential. Your income will not be exponentially increasing unless you are in a very early stage. In a normal place, you would be, let's say, 5%, 6% at max. You will be growing your income, which is barely beating the inflation, and of course, your lifestyle inflation is already there. So it's not going to be easy for you. So I've seen myself that if you set small targets for your passive income, it's much easier than thinking, okay, I'm gonna be fired now, financially independent now. But if you think of that kind of target, it's very difficult. But if you think, let's say, if I want to go for my utility bill, and I want to
Mhm.
just use my dividends to fund my utility bill, it might take you 1 year, 1.5 year. It's much easier and much achievable target,
I
rather
love
than
that.
thinking that, okay,
Yeah,
I'll pay my rent off through my investments.
that's such a nice mindset, Wally, because you break it down into smaller milestones,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think it's such an important piece that if you're just sticking to retirement, it's demotivating to wait this long to raise it. But if you start to see it, okay, it's now my utility bill. Oh, it's almost at my salary. Oh, I made as much from my earnings than my salary now. So so there are multiple
yeah,
milestones to get
yeah,
there. And since you mentioned, like, one thing I love about this way of this long-term investing is that you don't need to start a business to be wealthy, actually. It gives people that are salaried, because I don't think everyone should be starting businesses, taking on all that risk, all that stress, and for that potential upside. Hopefully, we know that most businesses don't turn out well. It's very difficult, it's very stressful. So it gives people a way to still get the benefit of stock ownership or of all that growth while keeping maybe a model that fits them, being an employee. So, um, yeah, sometimes we take it too far to say you have to, the way to build wealth is to start your thing. I actually disagree with that. I think if you play your cards well, you're disciplined, you're investing consistently, you might be in a better position actually than if you started something, because you have constant cash flow being injected into high quality assets.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely right. Now, as you talk about assets, I just want to know about your view of cryptos now, because although I have been not a fan of crypto until recently, but now that it's been seeping all over, like I can see everywhere, US president is talking about it, major countries are
Mhm.
talking about it, they are building the Bitcoin reserves. So what are your thoughts now, after so long? Because maybe if I talk about 3 years back, it's completely different, but now it might have been evolved. So what do you think now?
Yeah, I changed my mind on it around when we launched it in 2022. So I felt initially we were when it boomed when we started, and we were like, wait, this is it had a big boom and then it crashed, and we didn't want to be too associated to something so volatile in the early days when we were focusing on new investors. So with time, I got the chance to listen to a lot of podcast content on what is exciting about it, not just from the price, but why can it do well? What are the problems it's trying to solve for? And I felt like it had a compelling story behind it. Not enough to say, "Oh my God, I think everything's gonna crash and we're gonna deal in Bitcoin." I'm not there like some people that I know in crypto are. They would choose crypto and only crypto. They wouldn't even touch stocks, and they see the US dollar as something that's completely eroding. So I don't, I'm more I have a bit of an exposure. So depending on the price, etc., it'll be between 2 to 5% of my portfolio. But I like the narrative. I like what it stands for, whether it's the technology side, whether I like how it's volatile. I actually enjoy its volatility. Um,
You
I
get
would
more
feel,
options.
yeah, exactly. And I felt like when I didn't have it, I did feel FOMO and enough to, when I looked into it, I feel like it has merits. And so that's what I view. A lot of our customers also are in that boat. They put 5% into it. Obviously, some people take on much bigger positions, but it's very interesting what's happening. I think one of the main risks in crypto was the regulation, and under the Trump administration, we're seeing that change. We're seeing companies like BlackRock, obviously last year, that launched an ETF. So it's I can't say it's becoming mainstream as much as it already is. So let's see.
One thing about Sarva in relation to crypto, like normally on the exchanges, if we are investing through exchange, we can, let's say, move our cryptos to hard wallet. Is it possible through
Yes.
Sarva as well?
No, we do the cold storage with our brokerage partner Alpaca through Fireblocks.
Okay,
So
okay,
you cannot do wallet transfers at the moment. It's only through USD or AED into crypto and back. Um, More for a lot of convenience, but down the road, I think the regulations in UAE, the banking system is now welcoming it more and more, that it should be something we launch hopefully next year.
right. Mark, it was fascinating. Actually, I would ask people to definitely follow Mark on LinkedIn, because I've been following Mark, and there are so many insightful posts by Mark all the
Thank
time
you.
regarding Sarva itself, and also on different aspects of life. And LinkedIn is really great. I find LinkedIn to be a great place to be. It's a positive. It gives me positive vibes compared to, let's say, X platform. YouTube is always my go-to platform, but LinkedIn is something which I really enjoy being on. So I would definitely ask people to follow Mark. And anything towards the end you want to say?
No, thank you, Wali. Completely agree with that. I think LinkedIn's changed as a platform. It's getting more people excited to kind of give a behind the scenes view on their personal life, their professional lives, and rather than like the more corporate view or more of the company view. So it's been a very nice medium, and I'm love your content as well. So appreciate it that we were finally able to talk, and would love to continue the discussion. I feel like there's going to be a lot of interesting times for cryptos, the stock market, the UAE in general over the next few weeks and
Yes,
months. So
sure.
would love to catch up.
Good luck with Sarva as well, and thanks for this exciting app, which is so simple and gives a lot of it has given me a lot of confidence in investing itself. And by the way, just to quickly like wrap it up, but I just wanted to tell you about this leverage trading. In 2011, I was the part of this leverage
Mm.
trading, because my whole office was investing through this trading apps, and I lost myself around $10,000 at that time in 2011,
Wow.
But just because
Oh.
I didn't know about that, I was like making money. Initially, I made $4,000, and then I thought that I just found a way how to make money, and then eventually I lost around $10,000. But then from that experience, and there was another experience in 2008. So both the experiences, when I combined together in 2018, so I saw the numbers when I invested in 2008 and 2011, and both those whatever the stocks that I purchased, I saw those stocks, all of them went up, and by a margin. So I thought that
Wow.
this is the best asset class it could have been for me, if only I would hang to it, which I didn't. I just sold everything up, and that
Mm-hmm.
that is why it is very important for new people not to go into leverage trading, because then for myself, I just left for good 7 8 years just because I lost the money. But
Yeah.
this shouldn't be the case if somebody is starting new. So thanks a
100%.
lot.
I think that's such a core important message, Wally, because I think when you lose also you feel I wasn't in your shoes, but I feel like you wouldn't talk about it as much. You feel like it was maybe you as the problem when it's not at all that. It's the odds are really against you when you are taking
Hmm.
on leverage, that it's just doing a lot of damage because it was meant to
Hmm.
be for a very advanced trader. But I
Hmm.
think now it's becoming, they're spending so much in marketing these platforms that people think it's for everyone.
Hmm.
But it should be for a very, 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 very small subset of people, not a mainstream
Exactly.
product.
Yeah, we can talk about this at length, because I know a lot of people why they are moving to those platforms like trading
Yeah,
fee and these things. They're offering free trades
that's
and
right.
so many things. Yeah, but anyways, the money is being made. They know how to make money from so many different things.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you,
So
Ollie.
we'll meet
Really
again for
enjoyed
sure.
this. Yeah, of course. Would love to.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Ollie. Ciao.